Hey guys, this is Chris, lovecarreviews.com. Now today I'm doing a relatively quick vlog on the C63. Now, as some of you would have seen from some of my other reviews and blogs, I'm quite a C63 fan. This is my fourth one I've just purchased recently, and I just keep coming back to the same car. I absolutely love it. I think the drive is great. I think the balance is good. I think it's just a good all-round car in terms of a car that does everything. But the reason I'm doing this blog is because I've had, of the new 4-litre V8, I say new, from 2016 onwards, I've had 3 of those. I'm on my third one. I just purchased about, 3 weeks ago. And that's the Coupe, the S Coupe. Now the reason I'm doing this one is that just prior to getting rid of that, I had the Estate. And what I really want to do on this vlog is talk about why I switched. So some people will be like, well, you got the Estate in Selenite Grey and you now got the Coupe in Selenite Grey, and they're both S and they're both 2017. Actually no, the Estate was 2018. Now this one's 2017. Why the hell would you switch? So I thought, I'll talk a little bit about, why I drove, the Coupe, why I started looking at it, and why I actually made the switch for an older car that has less space inside and a few other things. Now, first up, the Estate is an amazing car. So I had the C63 S Estate. I purchased that in last year, about May last year, May, June-ish time. And I loved it. I think the car is fast, the handling is very good, in C63 terms good. So yeah, don't expect it to be 4-wheel drive Le Mans style. It's as good as it gets for a C63, which means it handles very well in the dry and you probably stay at home in the wet. But a great car, performance I love, everything I love about the C63, performance wise, straight line, cornering, the space inside, the comfort, the handling, everything. It's just a good all-round car, and I still think to this day that the C63, while it's not the best car in the world, I think it is one of the best balanced cars in the world. So if you want one car that does everything, I think the C63 may be close to perfect. I know people will challenge me on that, but that's my view on it, and I'm sticking to it. But one of the things that I found is that the way I want to drive, so there's just a little bit more I want. I just want to push it that little bit harder, and I'm always a little bit hesitant because I'm going to spin it into a bush, lose it on a roundabout, or wherever I might lose it. I don't want to end up in a bush with a 60-70 grand write-off. So I started looking at other options. I'm like, okay, well, what car would be similar with a little bit more of what I'm looking for in terms of that extra bit of rigidity around corners, that extra bit of sound, because I still love the sound, don't get me wrong, but I just want that little bit more. So I thought, let me have a look at the Coupe, because I've heard people say, you know what, the Coupe is that little bit better than the Estate. I'm thinking, well, same car, same engine, same body underneath-ish, between the Coupe, the Estate, the Cabriolet and the Saloon. So how much different can it really be? But I thought, you know what, let me give it a chance. Let me just test drive the C63 Coupe S, of course, and just see how good it is. See if it makes any difference, see if it's actually a better car to drive, or see if it's just the same thing with a different body. So I was going to buy one. I drove one quite recently. It was a really nice black car, really sharp looking car, and it does make a massive difference. I mean, the things that I'm looking for in the C63, and I said, for me it's a great car, it's an amazing car in the Estate. Just those extra little bits that I wanted is what I was looking for in the Coupe, and I pretty much found it, to be honest. I mean, if you look at the paperwork, the Coupe is a little bit faster. It's probably 0.1 of a second faster, which in real terms you won't really feel. But the handling is probably one of the big things that I want to talk about. And I feel that it is just that much better in terms of the way it handles, the way it kind of, I can corner in it, and also the confidence that I have between the two cars. In the Estate, as I said to you, there's always a point which I'm like, I'm probably done in terms of my guts and in terms of my heart. But with the Coupe, I think that pushes a little bit further on, so I'm happier and more comfortable that when I go around the corner, the car feels planted. It feels more, I don't want to say like a four-wheel drive car, but I want to say that the car feels like it's stuck to the road and it's not really going anywhere. Now don't get me wrong, you can spin it out all day, every day, but I think you just got a little bit more room to play with before it goes anywhere near kind of sliding out. And of course it helps that you've got, 285s on the back, of course, which make a massive difference. But just in terms of the way the car is set up, it is a wider car compared to the Estate and the saloons as well. So they've given it that extra kind of width at the back, and I think the front as well, don't quote me on that. But it just handles better. The sound is definitely better, and I think that's due to having a bit of a shorter exhaust as well. So you get a little bit more sound. With the exhaust button off, the car is actually relatively, dare I say, timid. From that perspective, like the sound is a little bit muffled and it sounds quite everyday car. With the exhaust on, it's definitely a lot louder, it's definitely a lot more aggressive, it definitely sounds the way I want a car to sound. So Mustang-esque in terms of that kind of proper raw V8 sound, which I think the Estate was just a little bit more muffled even with the sport button on. I think that's kind of two key things. One is the handling is definitely a lot better on the Coupe, and just gives you a lot more confidence to push it a little bit harder. Second thing, as I said, is the sound. It just sounds that little bit louder, that little bit more aggressive, that little bit more what you want from a C63 model. So that's definitely another one. Now, obviously being a coupe, it means you've got the two doors, unless you go with the CLAs and all the other coupes that have four doors, but one for another day. But it does have two doors. The space in the back is quite a bit different to the Estate, of course, as well. So headroom is a lot lower because you've got the sloping roof line, but also even the leg space feels a little bit more cramped than what you had in the Estate car. So I think that, even though they are technically the same body and the same car, my understanding is that the chassis is quite a bit different and maybe a little bit shorter on the, well, the space inside certainly is shorter on the coupe. So that's something to keep in mind. But it is a great car to drive. As I said, there's tons of options in the coupe that I've got. Not that I use any of them at all, but it is just a very sure car on the road. It is a bit better than the Estate version, and I think list price is like, I think the coupe is 10, 12, whatever £1,000 more than the Estate, which you kind of think, I'm getting less physical car than I am with the Estate. But it does drive very, very differently. It is, I think they have made a great kind of GT sports car with this one. It does feel very different, and even when I got in the car, the dash and everything else looks exactly the same as the Estate I had before. Exactly, literally, apart from the wear on the Alcantara, that's it, difference. But when the second you start driving, you can feel the difference. It just feels more, that plantiness I was talking about before, you can definitely feel that when you're driving. The car feels, I want to say it feels heavier, but that's more because it's stuck to the ground. Like you can feel the weight of it being pulled to the ground as opposed to it being a heavier car. It is very nimble, it does go when you put your foot down, it is instant in terms of acceleration. Everything that you'd want from a C63 car. It's just, yeah, it is a great car, and as I said before, you probably see one of my other blog posts where I was talking about the other cars I looked at before I took this one. Okay, so just when you think you turn your phone off, it rings on your speaker. Anyway, yeah, so back to it. So I think I've covered probably most of the things around, why I chose the coupe, why I choose to change it from the Estate version. As I said, I've had two Estates. One saloon a while back, which was a 6.2 litre, amazing car, but that's history. So yeah, I think it's a great car. I think it's worth it. If you've got an Estate, you're thinking, would it be worth a change as a sports car wise? I think absolutely it's worth looking at. It may not be the right decision for everyone, of course. It is, as I said, it's got less space in the coupe. It's a bit more cramped. You don't have this the luggage load type thing where you can just fill the boot with a whole bunch of stuff. You do lose a few things, but we've got another family car, it's an SUV, we've got that bit covered. So I figured in terms of a car that I just want to enjoy driving, a C63 Coupe definitely is there. As I said, are there better cars? Yeah, there are. But I looked at, would I look at the Macan, which I still love. I love the Macan GTS. I had one for all of 5 minutes, long story. I looked at the GLE 63 Coupe with 4 doors. Again, amazing car to drive, really fun. Its performance just is unbelievable compared to its weight and size. It just shifts and goes and keeps going. But again, it just wasn't quite what I was looking for in terms of performance. So when I got back to the C63 after looking at a few other cars, it just felt like the right balance of stuff. It's still a 4-seater, not the most space in the back, but it's good enough to be 4 seats and fit 4 people in the car. It does everything I want from a performance perspective. The fuel economy, if you need to ask, then you know how it goes. But it's not bad. 23, 24 to the gallon or whatever it is I've got getting at the moment, absolutely fine from my side. For a 4-litre V8 with 500 plus horsepower, that's absolutely fine. If you don't put your foot down and go mental all the time, that's not bad at all. If I move along the motorway, I'm absolutely fine. Getting about 200 miles for every 210, 220 probably. And I fill up at every quarter of the tank. I get to about quarter and I fill up again. So for me, it's I say it's not bad because that's what I've always got from all the cars that I've had. Some people look at it and be absolutely horrified, but for a car, as I said, 500 horsepower and 4-litre, you're really not going to expect the 300-400 miles to the gallon kind of diesel range, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I want to wrap it up here. As I said to you, a great car. It's worth considering as a sports GT, even if you've got an estate and you're wondering what's the difference between the kind of the saloons and the estate and the coupe. The coupe is definitely a more focused drive. So that's where I'll wrap it up, guys. Leave your comments in the section below, and hopefully we'll see you soon.